Hi, my name is Kate Mowbray. I'm a naturalist here at Sandy Creek Nature Center, and today we're going to learn a little bit about Piedmont Prairies. Did you know that Georgia was once covered in a lot of grasslands, especially here even in the Piedmont part of Georgia? Well, when first settlers arrived here, they found wide expanses of grasses. If you've ever heard of William Bartram, he was one of the first explorers to come through our area, and he wrote about the Piedmont Prairies. So we know they existed, but why? Well, we had a couple of reasons for that. For one thing, at the time, when lightning would strike, there was nobody to put out fires, so the fire could burn for a longer period of time. We had Native Americans here that cleared the land, and they would keep these wide expanses of area that were open. And the grasses, because they take less time to grow than a tree, they would grow up in these Piedmont prairie-like areas. And so over time, these grassy areas became a staple to the native land. Native Americans would burn these areas, and they would also keep it open so they could have it for agricultural reasons, they could have hunting grounds, and so it would help to kind of mark their territory. So we could see the influence of the Native Americans when the first settlers arrived by these wide expanses of prairies that were here in Georgia. We are going to take a look at our Piedmont Prairie demonstration area that we have here at the Nature Center and look at some of the grasses that have been found here in the southeast in our Piedmont prairies of the past. So let's take a look. When you think of Piedmont prairies, you may not know what types of plants and animals grow here. Can you tell by looking around? You may notice there are a variety of grasses, and you may even see some wildflowers in the mix. In the past, there are many animals that called the Piedmont Prairie their home. Can you think of an animal that would live in the prairie? Can you think of an animal that would have lived in the prairie in the past that no longer lives here in Georgia? If you said bison or American buffalo, you are correct. We actually had buffalo that lived here in Georgia in the past, and they called these Piedmont prairies home. So now I'm standing in the prairie path that you can walk when you come here at the Nature Center, and you can see the grasses all around me. As we walk through, we'll take a look at some of these grasses a little closer, and then we'll also look at some of the other plants that are growing here. In the prairie, we'd have a nice mix of grass and wildflowers, and there are lots of insects that you can find. If I bring an insect net out here, I can catch grasshoppers and leafhoppers. Sometimes even a praying mantis can be found. We have a large diversity of animals out here, and of course, if there's insects, then there's going to be animals that like to eat insects. So you can find birds that will hang out around the edges, and you can find mice running to eat the seeds for the grass. So let's continue our walk. When we started the prairie, we started off with a small section, and then as we began our managed forest project a few years ago, we expanded the prairie. And so this area right here was part of our expansion. And you can see the grass has really taken off in this area. I'll fan the camera back and forth so you can really see. When you think of of grass, you may think of the grass you have in your yard, and we usually mow that and keep it low, or you see along the roadsides. Sometimes you may pass a field that has taller grasses, but have you ever seen grass as tall as this? This is at least 8 to 10 feet tall, so almost twice my height. That's a really tall grasses. So we can find really tall grass. We can also find some shorter, smaller grasses. One of the other grasses we have in the area that's not quite as tall as the other one, probably about my height here, you can see this is called big blue stem. So it looks kind of similar to the little blue stem, but the seed heads look a little different. So I'll show you guys those up close as well. We also have some grasses with very small seed heads, and these are in a group called panic grasses. And so we can see, you can see maybe a little bit of how the seed head looks. Very small seeds at the end. There's also a little piece of web right there on that one. I don't know if you can see that well. Here's some of the smaller grasses that we have. This first one right here is called little blue stem, and you can notice it has maybe a little bit of a bluish hue to it, which gives it the name. Another shorter grass we have here is called purple top grass, and I'll let you guys see it a little closer here in a second. And the seed heads are purple in color, so that's how it gets its name. At the edge of the prairie, as you're entering towards the managed forest side, you will see a gray box on top of a long pole. Do you know what this is? It's a bat house. So we have installed bat houses around the property in different places, usually in more open areas, to give bats a place to roost. So they can roost and they can also nest in these boxes. So keep your eyes peeled for these extra habitat components as you come out on your walk. And that concludes our prairie walk today. I hope you enjoy getting a chance to walk through our Piedmont Prairie demonstration area. When you're out, you can come and walk the trail, and you can also go and explore the managed forest area that is to the side of the prairie. So it kind of leads right into the managed forest. If you come out in the springtime, you will get a chance to see us do a prairie burn. So every spring we do a burn of the prairie. It helps to get rid of the old grasses and then make room for new growth to come through. It also helps to keep plants like sweet gums and sometimes the blackberries, although they don't seem to really care about the fire as much, from springing up and turning back into another type of area. So we want to keep this area as much grass and wildflowers as possible, so doing a burn will help us to do that. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you out soon. Thanks.